everyone, and welcome back to my little crafty corner. That would actually have been a much better name for my blog than the Bare Threads, but there you go. Anyway, today I just wanted to go through my altering of this dress, which is really hard to see, I know, but I've got some pictures which I will insert. I bought this ages ago now. I think I got it from a vintage fair, but it's not really vintage, it's more just like a second-hand one, because it's not really that old or that well made. It says it's a size 48. I'm probably size 10. I'm not sure it's really a size 48 because it is a little bit old. I think the sizes are a little bit out, but it's definitely too big for me. So I just wanted to adjust it so that it does fit, and I've done this a few times before and it's worked pretty well. You can't just take it in at the sides. I know that's what people say, so just take a bit off the sides. I'm going to basically deconstruct it and then put it back together again, because there's things like the shoulders don't actually sit on my shoulders. They're too far down because it's too wide everywhere. So I need to take it in everywhere. I just really like the fabric, the pattern. I mean, it's not high quality fabric. I just really like the pattern and the colour. I think it'd be nice for summer because the weather does seem to be getting a little bit warmer, so hopefully that will continue and this will be like a nice summer dress for me. But I'm going to take it in, I'm going to take the shoulders in, I'm going to probably make it a bit shorter. It's a V-neck, but at the moment it would be a bit too V, and I might need to take that up so I'm not just kind of exposing everything to everyone. So keep watching and you'll see how I do it. Okay guys, so when I'm adjusting my dress, the first things that I've done is I have washed it and I've also tried it on. So I know where it fits, I know where it doesn't fit, and I know what adjustments I need to make. Now with this dress, I've decided that the best thing to do is basically to take it all apart. So I'm going to use my seam ripper, well probably just one of them, and unpick the seams. So I'm going to unpick the seam which joins the skirt to the top. I'm also going to unpick the seams that join the sleeves onto the top, because the sleeves are also too big and the shoulder seam doesn't fit on my actual shoulder. Once I've done that, I'll probably try each element on again and see how they fit and how much I need to take them in before I reconnect them. But yeah, the first thing is to unpick all the seams. So let's get going. Okay guys, I'm done. That seemed to take ages. It took me about 30 minutes to separate the skirt from the top and the two sleeves. The skirt definitely took longer, or the waist seam took longer, because it was reinforced about 4 times, which is a pain in the ass, or a pain in the hand really. But I'm done with that now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all pull away as much of this thread as possible so it doesn't go everywhere. Then I'm going to try all the pieces back on and see what adjustments I need to make. I'm going to start with the skirt piece, I think, because I think that'll be the simplest and the easiest to adjust. So I'll try those on and I'll insert some photographs of me doing that now. So when I was trying the skirt of the dress on, I marked off where I wanted the skirt to fit, so how wide I actually needed the waist to be, and then I've marked that off. I actually turned the skirt inside out now, which is going to help when I sew it, and then I've just marked it off, which turned out to be about 26 centimetres away from the old centre back seam. So because the skirt is not a square shape, because it's an A-line and it billows out, the easiest way for me to mark off where my new seam was going to be was to measure 26 centimetres all the way down, and I just put little pins there where that is. And now I'm just going to sew along those pins and create a new centre back seam, and then I'll try the skirt on again and just make sure it does actually fit at that size. And then my next step will be to make the skirt a bit shorter. So after trying it on, I decided that actually I wanted it to be a little bit smaller. So I just took off another about centimetre, and basically the exact same thing as before, where I just sewed a line all the way down but a centimetre further in. I then went over it with a zigzag stitch just to make it a little bit more secure, and I trimmed off the excess fabric using my pinking shears so they're all zigzaggy and look all fancy and cool. So now I'm just working on the length of the skirt, and I know what the length I want is, and it was about 22 centimetres from the hem, from the original hem. So I've just measured all the way along, as I did before, 22 centimetres from the edge. Again, the skirt is turned inside out, so that when I sew it, it'll be right size together. What I'm actually going to do, I think, is cut the fabric first, and I'll cut it a little bit longer than I actually want it to be, and then I can hem it a bit easier, I think. So I'm going to cut about an inch or so below the line, and then I will hem it and I will sew it all the way along as well. Okay. So the top of the dress is a wrap over style. It's V-neck, and the V of the neck is a little bit low because the top is just too big. It's already been sewn in place, so what I need to do is actually unpick this section where the two bits overlap and then just re-sew it a little bit smaller so it overlaps more, and that will also match up with the skirt of the dress. So I'm just going to unpick this section now. Okay, so now it can open out because I've unpicked it, and now I would just need to pick the position that I actually want to sew it in. So I've tried it on with the skirt, so I pretty much know where I want it to be, and I just need to make sure that it's also the same size as the skirt, so the waistline on the bottom of the top and the top of the skirt is the same size and they match up. So that's what I'm basically going to do now. I'm going to start by just finding the centre back of the top, and then I'll match that with the centre back of my skirt. So I think what I'm going to need to do is actually cut some of this out under the armhole, a chunk out here, and then I'll be able to line it up better. What I'm going to do now is sew these seams together down the side, and then sew these bits together, so the left and right sections which overlap, and then sew it all onto the skirt part of the dress. In order to attach my skirt to my top, I've left the top inside out and I've got the skirt the right way round, but I'm going to put the skirt inside the top, and then the fabric will then be right sides together, hopefully. I just got to line up the back side and front seams as well, otherwise it won't be even. So now I get to turn it the right way around and see if it actually worked. And the top half was still a little bit bigger than the skirt, but because it's pleated, I just tried to absorb any additional fabric into the pleats. So there may be areas where it's not super smooth, like here, where it's kind of, there's a bit of extra fabric there, but I don't think it's very noticeable. So there may be little areas dotted around like that, but I don't have a problem with that. So I'm quite liking the way that it looks, and I quite like the silhouette that it's created. The only thing is that the V-neck element is still a bit too low for me, really. I was hoping that that would be reduced by the fact that I was taking it in so much, but I guess because I cut the sides rather than actually taking these bits in, it hasn't actually made the V smaller. So I'll try it on and then I'll see how bad it is, because it basically just opens up completely. But I will try the dress on now. So when looking at the sleeves, I looked at these for a while and I couldn't really figure out what to do with them. And when I was trying the dress on, I just liked the way that it looked without sleeves. So I think I'm going to keep it sleeveless. But I did want to try and reuse these cuffs just so that I could finish off the arms of my dress a little bit more neatly. So I don't know if it'll work, but I'm going to unpick these and try and attach them to my dress.